with somebody. Yeah. Body all the time, never takes a break, he's always right. Working all day and every night. Money all the time, he never shifts at all, he stays the same. It'll never ever change. Money all the time, he's always on his throne, his way he rules.
Welcome to GVGL Brand Talks, where we discover the art of bringing brand promises to life. Join us as we explore the stories behind iconic brands and the strategies that drive their success. We will have fun playing game with our positivity cards and get to know my guests better with their perspectives on personal brands, what brand would they create, and their definition of good vibes, good life. Get ready to uncover the secrets of brand authenticity and growth tips in this inspirational podcast series. Hello, today I'm joined by Maria Gedeon, who is an innovative, transformative, and tech-savvy executive with over 20 years of global experience in retail, destinations, and entertainment, 17 years of it in UAE. Maria founded Gedeon More & Partners, and before that, she was the Chief Customer and Marketing Officer at the Chalup Group, the largest luxury retailer in the MENA and the LVMH joint venture partner, driving forward their marketing and customer journey, overseeing brand building, customer management, insights, and analytics. Maria has worked in senior roles in various companies, including Majid Al Futtaim. Maria is a proud working mom of two, traveler, former national ski champion, foodie, and I tasted her cake, delicious. Amateur chef, she loves sports, burgers, art, and fashion. Maria, welcome.
Well, what a nice and personalized intro, Ebru, and thank you very, very much for having me on the podcast today, and huge congratulations on launching the company. I love the branding, the name, great vibe, great life. It's really synonymous of who you are as well, so well done. It's really exciting.
Thank you so much, and thank you, taking time and coming here today. Today's session is about crafting the power of brand promise, where we will discuss the fundamentals of building brands and key components of brand promise. We will explore how a well-defined brand promise can be the cornerstone of a company's success, shaping customer perceptions and driving loyalty. We will also talk about the importance of aligning your brand promise with the company values and explore best practices. We will then play a game with our positivity cards. It will be great fun. Then I will be asking more personal questions, human questions, to get to know Maria better. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's go.
So the first question is, what are the fundamentals of brand strategy and how do you define brand promise?
So I think for a brand to be successful and to live a long time, it needs to have foundations and pillars, just like anything in life, basically. I think it's very important you start with the values of a brand, just like you have your own personal values, that will help you define the pillars of what you want to build your foundations on. I think after you have really identified what you stand for, what matters to you and what matters to your brand, it's important that you look at something we call the brand house. And I refer to house a lot because a house needs foundations, it needs pillars, and it's what I build things on. And I follow a very simple framework that I've used with some of my agencies in the past. It's called the ABCDEF of Brand House. It starts with audiences, the A, which is the foundations of everything you do. You need to build your brand for a certain type of audiences. And then the B stands for benefits. So what type of benefits does your brand offer, whether they're functional benefits, emotional benefits, cultural benefits, social benefits, economical benefits, environmental benefits. And then C, and that's a really fun one, and it's the brand's character. If the brand was an actor or it had a movie built around it, then who would be playing that role? And it's fun because you connect it with the personality of that brand. You connect it with the personality of the actor or the celebrity. It's always a fun exercise. We can never agree on one particular one, but it's a fun way to design and develop the personality of your brand. And then for D, it's basically the design world. So how things are going to look, even though it's not necessarily going granularly into the creative side of the brand, but it's the colors, the look and feel, like the materials, what do you want it to represent and why. And then for E, is a very important one for me, and that's the essence of a brand. So basically, in one word, what would your brand be? So when you say Volvo, the first thing that comes to mind is safety, for example. When you say Disney, it will be magic. What is the essence of any brand that is going to drive everything that you do? And last but not least, and probably one of the most important ones, is the purpose, the founding purpose of this brand. And that's why a brand exists beyond making money, basically.
Absolutely.
And then you asked also about a brand's promise and what that would be. And I think everything needs to be jointly interconnected and interlinked. And the brand's promise is the commitment of that brand to the customer across every touch point, and how it does that consistently across the board, across the journey, and so on and so forth.
Amazing. Very good answer. What steps can business take to ensure alignment between their brand promise and the customer experience?
There are several ways of doing this, but in a nutshell, I use a framework called design thinking. And design thinking is basically a framework that consists of 4 steps that helps you really dive into the insights and the customer and the consumer in certain cases. It means that you need to start by really knowing and understanding who your customers are. And we call it the double diamond approach. And it's really the what and the how. And to really find out the what, you really need to understand your audiences, who you're talking to, their needs, their wants, their desires, their pain points, and you really need to be designing for them. And this is called discovery. So you really you do a deep dive into your data, your audiences, both big data, small data, to really try and find out what is it that you want to do. After discovery, you move into definition. And this is where the strategy comes in, the definition of what you want to do, your brand, and so on and so forth. Why are you doing what you're doing? And in the definition process, what we do is we look at challenges and convert them into how might we's. How might we deliver on a consistent experience across the board? How might we ensure that our customers are continuously receiving the same treatment? How might we? So any challenge that you have in your customer journey would be translated into a how might we. After the definition stage, you look at designing. This is where you start looking at your processes, your journeys, your maps, your experiences, your products. You test, you iterate, you learn, you look at the viability, the feasibility of your products and your experiences, and then you deliver basically the product itself. So in an ideal scenario, the product, the experience, the service you're designing, you do an MVP to make sure it has longevity, it resonates, and then you get feedback and you keep iterating based on customers' feedback.
Consistency is key, delivering that value. It also brings loyalty and trust. That's really crucial.
Absolutely. And communicating that promise as well, right? So if customers know what they need to expect, then you're managing their expectations. And then the day you no longer are able to deliver on that is when they start to have question marks, they switch to another brand, and you no longer really stand out.
Let's also give some examples who actually does well on this, who brings their brand promises life good in this.
There are a few, actually a lot of them do that very, very well. I think across the board, FMCG companies have really shown and led the way in terms of how they really deliver on their brand's promise. Another one that I'm a huge fan of is Patagonia. Patagonia promises to provide high quality products while still saving the planet, and I think consistently across the board, whether it's through their product, their communication, their experience, their commitment to the planet, and the fact that they will reinvest everything, all of their earnings into making this planet a better place is pretty commendable. And I think it resonates with a significant amount of people, specifically Gen Zers who really care about sustainability. And you can see how they've differentiated themselves as a ubiquitous brand that sells very basic and modern retail. They've really managed to differentiate themselves from their competitors just by really delivering on that promise and being a sustainable product.
Absolutely. The other day when we were, having this conversation for preparing this, you gave the example of Onas.
Yes.
Their brand promise is delivering in 2 hours, and they do, and sometimes they even deliver less than that.
Exactly.
So it all depends on what promise you have, and then whether you are consistently delivering on that.
I've never had a bad experience, and I know it's a little bit of free advertising, but
Exactly.
Unas has done a great job from a retail perspective with their fulfillment and their brand promise, and I'm never disappointed. I'm very busy, and I buy all my gifts with their 2-hour delivery brand promise, and I think they do a really good job.
Conveniency. Now we go to the fun side.
Absolutely, let's do that.
Let's play this positivity cards. I will ask you to pick one and tell me what it means for you. Do you apply in your life and or not? Let's see.
Great, let's do that. Right, so I assume I need to read it out loud, right?
Yes, please. Super curious.
So card number 1 is to love oneself. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong journey, by Oscar Wilde. I cannot agree more with this statement and this positivity card, but I cannot also agree more that I don't do that enough myself. I think it's extremely important to care about yourself before you care about everyone else. And it's this, remember, like when you're in an airport, when I probably flew in the first time, and then they said when the oxygen masks drop, you put yours first before everyone else. And it's very fair, because it means you need to take care of yourself so you are able to take care of others. And if you no longer are able to take care of yourself, then at some point, everyone else would suffer. So I think, especially if you take care of a lot of people. So yeah, it's very deep and very profound, and it's definitely easier than done.
For mothers, it might be a bit difficult, but
it is difficult for mothers, but also for people who care, right? If you have compassion, if you're empathetic, if you're someone who enjoys supporting others and so on, it's difficult to keep finding time for yourself, but it's extremely important, and I think everybody should do that and keep that. Maybe I'll take a photo and put it on my fridge.
yeah, let's ask some more personal questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you were a brand, which brand would you be and why?
Very interesting question, but also extremely difficult. I did have to do a lot of thinking around this one. If I was a brand, what brand would I be? I don't think finding one brand is easy. I don't think there's a single brand that represents me personally. So perhaps I can pinpoint a few, and
Sure.
then I can explain
Go
why.
ahead.
So I'm kind of an amalgamation of a few brands that actually could represent me. The first one being Range Rover. Range Rover for performance for family. It's a family car. It was my first car. I inherited it from my mom. It was a very old 1990 Range Rover, so nothing fancy at all. For the adventure, because I absolutely love the adventure. I love the outdoors. Like you rightfully said, I love skiing and being in the mountains, and it's a car that always kept me safe. So I really love what the brand stands for, the innovation side of it. So it's a brand that I connect with, and it speaks well to me, and it's a brand I'm happy to just be represented by. The other one is Six Senses, believe it or not. I absolutely love hotels. I'm very passionate about hotels. I travel the world finding gems and restaurants, and I love to eat in like hidden gems and like very like nice and fine places. So Six Senses for the hospitality, for the warm hospitality. I'm from Lebanon and we're neighbors to Turkey, and you probably know how hospitable we are. So for the hospitality, for the personalization of the experience, and the fact that everything is always on point and there's a very, very high attention to detail. A couple more that I can resonate with as well, and I hesitated on some of those, but I'll just explain why, and then it could be a fun angle too. One is Hermès, so the fashion brand, and that's for the craftsmanship and the heritage and the timeless elegance of the brand. And it's a brand that I love. I wear their scarves almost every day. I decided no patterns for the podcast, so perhaps it was better not to wear one, but I should have, as I feel like it's a brand that could represent me. It's also a family-owned business, and I have a lot of respect for how far they've taken the brand, and I really love all of their products and the detail behind everything that they do.
I love it too.
Yeah,
amazing.
Exactly. And last but not least, Sotheby's. I went to art school, and I identify as both someone with a left brain and a right brain at the same time. I love the art side of Sotheby's, the fact that it connects people to some really unique pieces, and the fact that they've diversified their business to be able to provide their customers with beautiful things. I love interior. I love, the real estate side of things as well that they have. So I couldn't really pick one. So I'm just giving you four, and you can choose. Maybe you can tell me which one resembles me the most. But
I think all of them well defines you.
But I think, so in a nutshell, perhaps these four.
Excellent. If you were going to create a new brand, what product would that be, and what would be your brand promise?
Right, also a very difficult one. There are a couple that are already in the works, so I cannot say too much about them. But the other one would probably be a boutique hotel. I've always dreamt of having my own place where I can host people, where I can cook for people, where I can have, a fantastic place for people to just have a drink, hang out together, a beautiful terrace. And I feel like it would really represent me. It even has a name. I want to call it the Scandinavian.
Wow.
Sand for the Middle East and Navian for Scandinavian. I'm married to a Dane, and I've always wanted to see how I could bring both cultures together. I love the finesse of the interiors and the simplicity of Danish design, but the hospitality of the Middle East. So I always thought one day I'll either own a hotel or a restaurant, and I will call it the Scandinavian. I don't know yet. I haven't gone that far, but perhaps when I find an investor or someone who's willing to, join hands with me, maybe it's a dream that you and me can deliver on at some point. But it's something that I love to bring cultures together, just taking a little bit of like the Middle East to Denmark and vice versa. So,
very nice idea.
And the brand promise would be that we would deliver exceptional experiences to our customers and our guests, basically at every touch point.
Amazing. Where we had this regional marketing meeting in Singapore, and the opening question was, "What are your plans for retirement?" And that was my answer too.
Here you go. So we
are
have so
close
much.
friends, and,
Exactly, we
gave
have
the
so
same
much in
answer
common.
again.
I'm not surprised.
Absolutely. Define me your type of good vibes and your definition of good life.
Same. I think these are like very deep questions that I've never really taken the time to think about. But if I was to describe good vibes, I would start by saying that time is the ultimate luxury and it's very scarce and I have very little of it. So it's very, very important for me that I enjoy it beautifully with people I really care about. So for me, it would mean me, my husband, my kids, with our closest friends, in a cozy winter chalet in the mountains,
Wow.
probably in Lebanon, where I grew up, gathered around a fireplace after a very long day skiing in powder snow. I just gathered around an amazing meal, enjoying a glass of red, listening to our kids giggle in the background with the sound of the chimney and, you know, just amazing weather and, clear night sky with lots of stars in the sky and for me
you just
this
transferred us there with this description.
so that for me is like really good vibes and then so I guess that would describe how I would be having a really, really nice evening.
Wow, amazing. Well, that's all for the podcast show. Thank you so much for coming. Before I let you go, here I'm handing over this notebook to share your thoughts with me for the memory of the day. While you write that message for me, I will share the last messages. So as we conclude today's podcast on crafting the power of brand promise, remember that your brand promise is more than just words. It's a commitment to your customers that defines your identity and sets you apart from the competition. By consistently delivering on your promise and building trust, you can cultivate loyal relationships that drive success. Thank you for joining us as GVGL Global Marketing Management. We look forward to empowering your brand journey as part of your go-to-market strategy. Stay tuned for more insights and inspiration. Thank you, Potser, for powering today's podcast show.
So